Hi, Facebook. Here I am, and I will talk about doing your best. Many times this thing of doing your best, as far as I have experienced and seen, is used in a way that is like as an accusation. You're not doing your best, you should be doing your best. But what if you're always doing your best? Yeah. If you haven't met me before, my name is Stella Scott, and I hold this What's Your Question every Thursday here on Facebook Live. It's more like a moment of me pondering on something. I can get questions sent to me. You can send a question if you like. Through Facebook, you can PM me here, or you can ask on Instagram or some other place. And then I usually have little things to say that are sort of like different from how other people see it. And this thing with doing your best is one of those. And if you agree with me on something, you can like send a like or such, or you can ask a question right here, right now. If you're with me live, or if you are seeing this afterwards, you can still comment because I will see it, and then I can like answer and we can have a conversation. So in this thing of doing your best, I have been, I get this little itch of there is something here that bothers me. And many years ago, I was confronted with the thing of wanting something, having the desire for something, and being able to do something. I can't, I desire to do something. And sometimes there are positions where it's really about, I don't want to do it, but I can't. And sometimes there are, the position is, I can't do it. And how I look at life and people's possibilities and circumstances is that everyone has a different circumstance, very different circumstance. And I have 5 categories for that. So it's emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, and then I include not only your own physics, but also your environment. And if you were born in the countryside or in the city, growing up in a big house, a small house, an apartment, on the street, whatever, and your relationships. Those 5. And those 5 will mold you into a certain kind of person, and you will get, your ideas about life, your belief system. And from that starting point is where you start with everything and anything you want to do. Every relationship starts from those 5. Every business thought starts from those. Every job you look for. And also the doing your so-called best starts from those 5. There's no way to avoid that. We all have it. Even if you say, well, I'm an atheist, that's still spiritual for me. Spiritual means being in where you belong, your belief system. If your belief system is atheist, then you're still spiritual. It's still a spiritual idea of my environment and how I interact with the world, with life, with the trees and the birds and whatever. And so it's for me spiritual. I'm sorry, I have to adjust this, I think. There we go. Spiritual is a much bigger thing than I believe in a God or I have a religion. That is not spiritual. A lot of people that belong to that part, I have this religion, are not really spiritual to me. They're just, following a rule, a law. Somebody says you have to do this. So spiritual is something much bigger, and environment is a part of physical. So when somebody says you're not doing your best or you should be doing your best, this is where you come from. And many times I have seen, and I have experienced with myself, that I do have a wish for something. I want to move in a certain direction, and yet it's sort of like impossible. I can't do it. And so then one part of me comes in and like beats me over the head and tells me, not so much anymore, but tells me, no, I should do this. It still happens. I'm not going to say that it doesn't happen. It absolutely does. Though I'm not mean to myself, but I can be like, yeah, come on, Stella. What's the problem? And the problem is that I'm not being able to do that because I don't have that resource. I sort of like revert into something younger, a place in me where I don't have the resources. And when that part of me starts to rule, what I call doing my best comes from there. So if you are lying on the couch eating like potato chips and chocolates and watching Netflix, and you still want to like lose weight, perhaps that is the best you can do at that point. Perhaps that is your best. Because there's a part of you that will not let you do anything else, will not allow you to stop putting potato chips and chocolate into your mouth. And that part needs to be addressed. So there's this inner conflict going on. One part wants to like lose weight, and the other part says, no, don't lose weight. That's dangerous in one way or the other. And when I say dangerous, I mean that we do not have any self-destructive behaviors. Every behavior we have stems from these 5 areas in life, and we do everything we can to survive the best we can in the circumstances we have. So with that, I say you are always doing your best. You cannot but do your best. For some people, this might feel like, but that is not true, because when somebody told me or said to me, or I was like inspired or provoked or and then I decided, but that is like the next step, because then something stepped in that managed to pull you in a certain direction. And here I want to insert something that one of my lovely followers on Insta said, because when I announced this, come on, I said, if you have any thoughts about this, because this is coming up, please write here. And she said, my first thought is the risk of crippling perfectionism. If you're wired that way, and wired that way is these 5. So if these 5 gives you a crippling perfectionism, then that is the best you can do. But you're not living, what she said, when your or others' standards for you are unreasonably high, your best is not necessarily achievable. But we can never achieve our best if we go there, because there is always, and I mean always, one little step, inch, nudge further along. So that is in itself impossible. We don't even know what best is. So if you have this, perfectionism thing, and that you have to like strive and go, and you think that is doing your best, you are doing yourself a great disservice, in my opinion. I think it's better to be kind to yourself and see that you are doing your best where you're at right now. And to get further along, you most likely need help, assistance, guidance. That could be a coach, that could be a teacher, that could be a friend. Someone that helps you, pull you, drag you sometimes in a direction that gives you more access to your resources, because we all have a lot of fantastic resources that we never use. I'm no exception. I have a lot of resources that I can't access without help, without having people out there giving me suggestions, pointing in certain directions, scratching on the surface, and we all need that. There is no exception to the rule. And I talk about this a lot, I say, so you need help. So, and one way of getting help, if you feel like, oh, Stella seems like a cool person, she might be the one. Yes, I might be the one. If you think that I'm the one, then you can PM me here. You can go to my homepage theenergizedme.com, but it could just as well be someone else. I'm not sitting here just saying I am the one for everybody. I am the one for some people, but I'm not the one for everybody. But everybody needs people around them to help them move along to a new position of doing your best. Because you can never get there. I know I just said that, but you can never get there to doing your best, because you can always get to a new place, a new angle of doing your best. Among other things, among many things, I'm an opera singer, and I still sing. I got that question the other day. Are you still singing? Yeah, I'm absolutely sure. They're definitely still singing. And I constantly work on becoming more skilled, having a better connection with my breath, how to use my phrasing. I mean, all these different things that you do in singing. A lot of the stuff I can do myself, but I can get inspired from listening to recording. That is also a way of getting help. Reading a book is a way of getting help, of like moving forward. And yet, you always, sooner or later, you will need a person. Someone listening, looking, hearing what it is you're doing. Either when it comes to like personal development, or you're singing, or if you're a soccer player, or a business person. Doesn't matter what it is. So I think it's a good thing to be able to, what should I call it? Accept, honor the fact that you're a human being, and that human beings need each other. And that you too need other people to move yourself forward, and to help them move themselves forward, because we also move together. When someone else gets it onto a higher level or further along, then I can move with them. And so we help each other to expand, become bigger versions of ourselves, better versions if you want to use that. But it's also like a very judgmental thing. So to say, to become a better version of yourself, as if the version you're now is not good enough. It is good enough. Whatever you're doing, whatever you are, it is good enough for where you are right now. If you want to change, you will have to move. But where you are right now is good enough for now, because with your 5 basic starting points, you cannot be anywhere else. Please let that sink in. You cannot be anywhere else than you are right now. And when you feel, I want to move away from this particular point because it's frustrating, it's painful, it's humiliating, whatever it is, then in one way or the other, you have the responsibility to reach out into people or books, or go to the movies, or take a walk and watch the birds. I don't know how you're going to do it. Hug a tree, to be able to move out of that position and move into a new version of you. Just a new version, not a better or a worse, just a new version of you. A more expanded, a more experienced version of you. So doing your best is something that you're doing every single day, in my opinion. That's how I see it. And that is one of the reasons why I can be kind to myself and love myself and be respectful of myself and my position and where I'm at. Because I know I cannot do any better right now than I am. Because I am doing my utmost with the resources I have right now. And I do want to move away from this position. I absolutely do. And to be able to do that, I reach out to other people to come to my aid, so I can become a new version of myself, a more expanded version of myself, something that goes beyond what I thought possible. Because this is another thing. You, where you are right now, it's really difficult for you to realize that there are things beyond. Because in a way you can only think about what is possible. I discover this every day about myself. Here, this is the limit. I can't get any further than this. This is the limit. And then something happens. Somebody says something. Da da da. So, and I say, oh, and I move beyond. So moving beyond what you thought possible, that is really where it's at. Outside of the comfort zone, as we used to say. Outside of the box. What if there is no box? What if there's only expanding what you already have? Because in a way, that box, either it just moves with you, or it doesn't even exist. As I used to say when I do this, is like I could like talk forever. I could have like a whole workshop on this, like a couple of days or a week or something, just about these things. But I try to keep it as short as I can. I didn't look at my watch or my clock right now. And I try to keep it like less than 20 minutes. So I will stop here. And if there's anything you want to ask me about this, or if you have any thoughts of your own, please write them here or contact me in one way or the other. And perhaps it's you and me working together. If that is of interest to you, I do have a free clarity session that we can like see, is this for you, is this not for you? It's a possibility for you. Also in that, I want to provide thoughts, ideas, and help you move beyond where you're at right now. It doesn't cost anything. So, this is Stella Scott. I'm signing off from What's Your Question? This lovely Thursday when the sun is shining right now, I think. Yes, it's starting to come out here. And I wish you a glorious day.